Hello, and welcome to our series from the University of Arizona, FAQs, Financial Aid Series. My name is Stephanie Besiege, and I'm the Director of Recruitment at the University of Arizona, and I am so excited to be joined with Rebecca Salcedo, our Director for the Office of Scholarships and Financial Aid. Rebecca, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure, Stephanie. Thank you.
Today our series is titled, How Much Does the U of A Cost? And what we want to do is answer some of the frequently asked questions about how students and families can determine and plan for the cost of college at the University of Arizona. So today we're going to dive into some of the tools that we have available to students and families to plan for their attendance at the University of Arizona. So Rebecca, can you share a little bit about how a student and a family can look at determining the cost of attendance at the University of Arizona and the factors that go into that?
Absolutely. The cost of attendance from a financial aid perspective is a little bit more broad than some families might be thinking of, because we want to make sure that we're considering all the costs of a student's education, which could include both direct costs, which are costs that a student will get a bill for from the university, and indirect costs, which aren't items that the student would necessarily get a bill for, but are items that students need to think about and plan for in order to be a successful student at U of A. And so on our webpage, we have a link on this presentation to our webpage that will direct students to the cost of attendance page. The cost of attendance is updated annually as we get new numbers, and we update it in several ways. We survey our students every couple of years to ask them about their expenses. We also keep an eye on the Consumer Price Index to determine that the estimates that we have are reasonable to student costs. And then for the direct costs from the institution, we use averages that are most suitable to what more students pay.
So in that research, how do you break down the categories for cost for students?
Sure, absolutely. So our cost of attendance is broken down into several categories. There's tuition, and so there's tuition, and that we usually include in that mandatory fees as well that students might need to cover. We have room and board, and we have averages that are specific to either living on campus or off campus, or even being a commuter for students who are considering staying with their parents, our Tucson students. We have books and supplies, again, very much an average. We do recommend that students buy their books from our U of A bookstore, but the amount that they could pay could vary, so that is an estimate. There's travel costs, so that could either be transportation to or from school, it could be a bus pass, a parking permit, and so those are costs students can think about. Miscellaneous is things like laundry, deodorants, contact lenses, little expenses that will come up that students need to cover while they're a student. And then we have, there's loan fees for students who are thinking of borrowing loans there could be a fee that we want to keep into consideration. And we found that some students, the majority of students, take usually at least one I-course while they're at U of A, and so we include that I-course fee, so that's covered as well.
And the I-course fee is for an online course?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Wonderful. So then how does a student figure out what the total price would be depending on the factors that they personally have?
Right. So in addition to the award letter, which we'll be talking about in another video series, students who haven't yet applied or are just curious and exploring can look at our net price calculator. The net price calculator is a great tool for students not only to find about their costs, but the different types of financial aid that they might be eligible for. And so we do recommend that especially students who haven't gotten an award letter yet, try out that net price calculator. They enter in their grades and their test scores, and we will show them both the scholarship information that they might be eligible for and their financial aid information, as well as some costs.
Wonderful. And is that tool for incoming freshmen and transfer students?
Correct. We do have two separate net price calculators. One is specific to incoming transfer students, incoming freshman students, and then the other one is specific to transfer students.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned tuition as a part of one of those categories.
Right.
So how does the University of Arizona go about setting their tuition, and what does that look like?
Right. So the University of Arizona's tuition is set by the Arizona Board of Regents. And so when we first send students an award letter, it will have the estimated tuition, which we'll update later. But one of the greatest things for especially our incoming freshmen is that we have a guaranteed tuition rate, which is good for 4 years, 8 semesters, in which their tuition and mandatory fees stay exactly the same. And so they won't be increased for those 4 years, 8 semesters. And that really helps families with planning.
Wonderful. And are there other sources of information that families should investigate when they're looking at the University of Arizona?
Absolutely. So the financial aid webpage is the best source of information. We have information about the different types of aid that are available for students. We have, again, the cost of attendance page is there. We also have forms that students might need to access to find out. And so we have also have an FAQ section. So families and students should for sure check out that financial aid webpage. And feel free to contact our office if they have any questions.
Wonderful. And the Office of Admissions also has a great webpage for students to get more information if they still haven't applied yet, want to apply, want to learn how to visit our campus, contact us via email or phone. So that's a great way for students to connect while they're doing their search process and for those students who have been admitted. Well, thank you, Rebecca, for joining us today. And thank you all for watching, and we hope that you continue to watch the rest of the videos in our FAQ series.